Welcome to Right Side Broadcasting Network. I'm Matthew Alvarez. Thanks so much for joining us. Of course, a number of events going on this week, and specifically, we interviewed a number of great American patriots. Let's start with this one right now. Joining us now on Right Side Broadcasting Network is White House Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson. Thanks again for joining us here on Right Side.
Great to be with you as always.
Definitely. Let's dive right into that 24/7 news cycle. Recently, of course, the Supreme Court ruled in favor of the Trump administration on those two immigration-related cases, including temporary restricted status and for illegal aliens and asylum procedures. What is the White House's reaction to all of that victory?
These are two massive victories for President Trump and for the Trump administration, but they're also big victories for the American people and, of course, the rule of law. On temporary protected status, the Supreme Court affirmed what this president has said all along, which is that temporary protected status is by definition temporary. It was never meant to be a pathway to permanent citizenship or status in the United States. And so the Trump administration now, thanks to the Supreme Court, will be able to abide by the rule of law and enforce the laws as they are on the books. And the ruling on the asylum is also a big win for the Trump administration. It means that the Trump administration is able to stop the exploitation of our asylum system that has gone on for years and years, encouraged by Democrats in Washington, and that the Trump administration is able to make sure Americans are being put first. This is enabling us to fulfill key campaign promises and once again really just upholding the rule of law. So we're very pleased by these rulings and they're great wins.
Speaking of law, a law and order president. I mean, as soon as he stepped into the office there at the Oval Office as the 47th Commander-in-Chief, we saw the national emergency on the southern border right away. And it's something that really shut down what Biden and the whole crew did. Isn't that great to be a part of a White House that has those things going on for the safety of us?
Absolutely. It's great to be part of an administration that is putting the rule of law first. And 10 or so years ago, you would have never thought we would have Democrats who are so insistent on chipping away on just law and order. But as we have seen, especially when President Trump was out of office, the Biden administration just cheered on the criminals that were crossing our border, that were invading our country. The Trump administration has definitely put a stop to that. We have secured the border, but also with these actions that the Supreme Court has taken in favor of the administration and a host of other pro-America policies that we're implementing, President Trump is slowly chipping away at the damage that Joe Biden did to our immigration system, and we're not stopping anytime soon.
Exactly. And speaking of law, wouldn't it be great to see the Save America Act be signed into law by President Donald J. Trump? Because thanks to President Trump, the momentum has started to have an uptick in Washington since that Easter recess. It kind of went downhill, but now it's back up into the mainstream, narrative, which is good, even in independent and alternative media like us here at Right Side. So, what's your take right now on getting that thing passed, ideally before the midterms?
Yes, the Save America Act has been a top priority for President Trump for quite some time, and it continues to be one. As you see and all of your viewers see, the president talks about the Save America Act at just about every opportunity possible. And the reason he does this is because he knows how important it is to the American people. These are common sense policies, things like proving you're an American citizen in order to vote in American elections, showing ID when you cast your ballot, something you have to do when you go to the library to get a library card. And they're supported by the vast majority of Americans outside of the politicians in Washington, D.C., especially the Democrat politicians in Congress, trying to stop the president's agenda. So as you see and as your viewers see, the president is continuing to push on this legislation. He knows it is the #1 priority for the American people, and he is treating it as such, and he will continue to do so.
It's pretty wild to see that President Trump said recently in the Oval Office that it's a 99% issue, meaning that's 99% of people support this. And to your point, it does seem like it is the extreme leftist Democrats or the mainstream media, maybe the fake news, are the only two entities that are really against the Save America Act. I mean, even there are Democrats that are saying, we should have fair elections. I mean, isn't that wild to see that?
Yes, and you're right. President Trump says it's a 99-1 issue, and I think that 1% is probably congressional Democrats and the fake news media. But yes, Democrat voters throughout the country, they want fair elections too. They want to know that their vote is counting and that illegal aliens aren't voting in their elections. So that's why the president is pushing so hard on this issue, because he knows it's not just a red issue. He knows it's not just Republicans. He knows it's good for all Americans, and not just Americans today and during his term, but for generations to come. It is absolutely critical to secure our elections.
100%. And finally, the president's speech just the other night at the National Mall to really kick off Freedom 250, he really brought it home to the American people, didn't he?
Yes, the president's speech was absolutely electric. I was very lucky to be in attendance. And something I loved was how he talked about the greatness of our American history. I think this is something that Democrats and the mainstream media often try to belittle and attack America and all of the great things that we did. And President Trump didn't shy away from that at all. He talked about our incredible history and how we are the greatest nation history has ever known. And he also talked about moving forward and looking ahead and how great our country can still be and great things that we can do in the future. So the president struck a great tone, a very patriotic tone. The crowd was absolutely fired up to see him, and what a great way to kick off our America 250 celebrations on the National Mall.
Exactly, and we're only a few days away from July 4th. It's going to be pretty awesome to see the new Air Force One make a flyover. Have you seen the plane in person yet?
I haven't seen it in person yet. I've seen the pictures, just like you all, and it looks pretty awesome. But with President Trump in charge, who would expect anything less?
Exactly. That's good stuff right there. Looking forward to it on July 4th, 2026. The White House Deputy Press Secretary Abigail Jackson. Thanks again for joining us here on Right Side.
Great to be with you.
You too. And let's go to one of our sponsors, All Family Pharmacy, because as you guys know, Americans are tired of being told to wait or jump through endless hoops just to access the medications they may already know they need. Now, if your health is your responsibility, why does it feel like someone else is always in control? That's why more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. Whether it's everyday maintenance medications, common antibiotics, or simply being prepared before travel or emergencies, All Family Pharmacy makes the process simple, fast, and secure. No crowded waiting rooms, no unnecessary hassle, just a convenient way to order your medications online from a trusted U.S. pharmacy focused on helping families stay prepared. And because the reality is shortages, they happen. Delays happen, emergencies unfortunately happen. And, peace of mind, of course, starts with being proactive instead of reactive. So right now, when you visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, use that promo code RSBN10, you'll save 10% off your order. Again, being prepared isn't extreme, it's common sense. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and use that RSBN10 promo code for 10% off today. This broadcast also brought to you by Birch Gold Group. As you see there, all you have to do is text Trump to 989898, because when there are supply constraints on commodities, prices, of course, they surge. You saw it with fuel prices when the Strait of Hormuz was blockaded. And we also know, of course, that gold is a limited commodity. They mine it out of the ground, and when it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more of it. And that's why everyone from central banks to savvy savers are diversified with gold. So if you've been thinking about it for years but have still never moved some of your savings into physical gold, Birch Gold Group is who we trust to help you. Now through May 29th, Birch Gold is giving first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. So for details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, just text Trump to that number you see on your screen there, 989898. We're told that Birch will actually help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Just text Trump to that number, 989898, to see if you qualify for a first-time gold buyer rebate of up to $10,000. Again, you'll get that free information kit as well. Just text Trump to 989898 today.
In 1776, our founding fathers met in Philadelphia and changed the world forever at the thing called the Declaration of Independence. Tonight, as we stand on the edge of our 250th year of independence, I am thrilled to declare that America is back. Our country is strong again, our country is wealthy again, and our country is safe again. America is once again a nation of self-respect, dignity, and pride. This is our heritage. This is our history. And this is the destiny of America, to be the greatest, most incredible country ever to grace the earth.
We're here in the Florida display at the Freedom 250 Great American State Fair. We're in the great state of Florida right now. We're about to walk around and show you the display. There's so many Florida state symbols, such as the oranges, the mockingbird, state bird, the manatee, state marine mammal, the bottlenose dolphin, the state saltwater mammal, the state motto is "In God We Trust." So we added that to the state seal in 1868, shortly after the Civil War. And this was a small change from the state's earlier motto, "In God Is Our Trust." Economic growth, population has been booming. Everybody wants to move to Florida, especially from the blue states, fleeing all the high taxes. Anything you'd like to say about the great state of Florida?
It's the best place in the world.
I agree. Let's all go to Florida.
Thanks.
Okay, so we're gonna walk around and see, is there any like hot spots we have to check out in the
Definitely the
display?
next room. You'll like it.
Okay, let's
You'll
check
know
out.
it right away.
We'll know it right away. Let's check out the next room. This is quite the intricate display here for the great state of Florida. This is the manatee zone. Hi there. We're Right Side Broadcasting Network.
Okay, great.
We're walking around each and every state to showcase what's unique about the culture and different, different geographic areas of the country and different types of wetlands and what's on each coast and the ocean, the lakes, everything. So, is there anything you'd like to showcase about Florida?
I actually would refer you to my colleague Jessica, who's right around the corner. She's our spokesperson for the day.
Perfect. So Jessica
her
can
name's
give
Jessica.
us.
She's blonde hair. So
Perfect.
Around the corner, she can talk to you.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Jessica's going to tell us all about the great state of Florida as the spokesperson for this intricate display. Florida came to show out here for America 250, showcasing everything that they have to offer in the great state of Florida. This is showcasing the agriculture in Florida, and if you go over to the left, you can see a Shape of Florida map with the Florida agriculture at a glance, showing each county and what they grow and what they're known for in each county in terms of agriculture. Florida, of course, is known for their oranges, so they have this here. It says, "Stop and smell the oranges." There's nothing quite like a Florida orange. Florida ranks 6th in the United States for fresh seafood production with a dockside value of $240.5 million. So extremely fresh seafood in Florida. This here is displaying the launch pad for Florida for NASA. Florida launches what's next, so they're going to show Space Florida, be where new ideas take off. It's one of the busiest launch sites in the world today. A space launch from Florida happens more frequently than you may think. A space launch happens from the state of Florida every 3 days on average. And I think I found Jessica. Hello. So your friend in the other room told us that you know everything there is to know that's cool about the state of Florida. So is there anything you'd like to showcase?
So a lot of the best thing about Florida is we got a little bit of everything. We're not just coastlines and beaches. We also have beautiful treasures around the state, from our natural resources to the agriculture, and a long, long history that you'll see in St. Augustine and other locations around the state.
Thank you. Is there any other fun facts you'd like to share on Florida?
One of the biggest things was actually globally, we have more launches than anybody coming out of the Space Coast, so we're really excited about that. We had 109 launches last year, so very excited to showcase the Space Coast in Florida.
Well, you've put together a wonderful display, and all your hard work is paying off, because this is a really intricate state display, especially compared to some of the others. So you have really done a great job showcasing all the different aspects of Florida, like you said. So great job.
Thank you so much. We're happy to be here.
Thank you. Visit Florida. They of course have a golf display over here. You could take your hole-in-one shot. do a little putt-putting over here. Golf is huge in the state of Florida, so they're putting that on display. Thank you. He says he loves RSBN and great job. Hello.
This live stream broadcast brought to you by some great sponsors, including Kalshi.com/RSBN. As you see there on your screen, you have that QR code. You can get to Kalshi. You can also download the app if you'd like. A lot of political trending stories on Kalshi. You can check out so much polling for politics or faith or weather, music, movies, really anything. It's on there. Kalshi.com/RSBN. One of the big races people are following, of course, is that mayoral race in Los Angeles between Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass. Also, the gubernatorial election in California, a big one coming up as June 2nd is around the corner. So at the end of the day, Kalshi.com/RSBN, that's the place to go to check out the polls. But of course, for those that are betting and trading, that is a site that people are going to. More than 1 million users on there right now. Kalshi.com/RSBN. This also brought to you by Cove Pure. You've heard us talk about Cove Pure before, and if the water scares in Flint, Michigan, and East Palestine, Ohio weren't enough to get you to make the switch, well, this might, because more than 176 million Americans are drinking tap water with those PFAs in it. They're the man-made chemicals used in food packaging, nonstick cookware, firefighting foam. Scientists call them forever chemicals because once they're in your body, unfortunately, they stay there. They don't break down, and then they're linked to hormone disruption, immune damage, and increased cancer risk. But here's the part that is making a number of people upset because the EPA, they did their part. They set legal limits for PFAs in drinking water back in 2024. But water systems have until 2031 to comply. That's a whole 5 years from now. And until that deadline arrives, the utility can be operating above the legal limit of these PFAs, and they're not required to notify you. So you're just drinking that water. And that's why every single household simply needs Cove Pure, because the government knows these chemicals are harmful enough to regulate. They're just not making anyone act on it yet. Recently, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin did announce a $1 billion grant for smaller communities to get rid of forever chemicals. So moving in the right direction there. But in the meantime, if you want clean, healthy water, you're just going to have to do it yourself. And Cove Pure was engineered exactly for this. Unlike those normal pitcher filters that you see at the store out there, their Clearwave reverse osmosis technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants. So those forever chemicals, the PFAs, the heavy metals, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, this product filters particles hundreds of thousands of times smaller than a single human hair. And the best part about Cove Pure is they make it so easy it sits right on your countertop. You don't have to drill any holes or call someone in to install it. You just plug it in. You can even get whatever temperature water you want, hot, cold, or warm, with a tap of a button. So don't wait until 2031. You can take control of your water quality right now. Head to covepure.com/RSBN. And as you see there on your screen, covepure.com/RSBN, you can save $250 right now if you go to covepure.com/RSBN.
Thank you very much, everyone. What a nice group. What is that noise? I hear the noise of a crane or something. I love that noise. That means money. You hear that? It just started when I started speaking, so I guess they probably don't want to hear. So tonight we have a very special group of people. It's called farmers and ranchers and the people that I love. I love you all. A special, special group. And I want to welcome you to the Rose Garden Club, which is a special place. We just developed it, really. This used to be grass and it was unusable. And I have my friend over there. Did I do a good job in the office with you today? Did I make you satisfied? He's a good man. We've dealt successfully together for a long time. Oh, that's so much better without that noise. Thank you very much for turning that stupid machine off. But I want to welcome you to the Rose Garden Club. It's an incredible place. And this used to be grass, beautiful grass, but it was useless. You couldn't stand it. It was always wet. You know, this used to be a wetland, and the grass was wet. If it rained 7 days before, the grass was soaking wet. And we'd have reporters there. Female reporters would be holding their shoes like this, destroyed, ruined. Men, too. So we finally, after about 150 years, we decided to do something about it. And we put a beautiful stone that matches the White House, and people are loving this whole experience. We never had experience like this. We never had tables. we couldn't do anything. We never had press conference. Now we use it for pretty much everything. It's one of the most active places in the White House. And we're delighted to be joined by some of the hardest working, most dedicated patriots in our country. That's called the American farmers. We have great, incredible people. And I love you for a different reason. I think I get about 98% of your vote. At least. We're trying to figure out who the other 2% were. But the country was founded by farmers. 250 years later, you are the growers, the ranchers, the agricultural producers, and you feed the nation, and you power the entire world. And tonight I want to just say thank you, and that's why you're here. You're at this very incredible place called the White House, and really I have a great respect for you people. You built America. You really did. You feed it and you built it, and you're unbelievable people, and thank you very much. Earlier today in the Oval Office, it was my honor to sign an executive order directing federal agencies to accelerate agricultural innovations that give farmers and ranchers the necessary resources to ensure American crops are the healthiest and the most abundant and the most affordable. And we're always working for the farmer. We want to make it better and easier for you, a lot easier for you. We're pleased to be joined tonight by Secretary of Agriculture, Brooke Rollins. And Brooke is a friend of mine. And we talk all the time about affordability because when we came in, prices were through the roof. And you see they're coming down very fast, Brooke. Good job. You know, eggs, I think, were 4 times higher than they are right now. And it was my first day in office, and we had a news conference, and the fake news, which is around here someplace, there they are. They're always around someplace, unfortunately. But the fake news said, eggs, why are they so high? I said, what do you mean? Explain to me what's going on with eggs. They're 4 times, they were so high, like at a record high. Now, I was only there for 1 day. And I said, I've only been here for 1 day. Give me a break. And now Brooke went, we worked very hard on it, and they're actually at a very low price right now, so it's really great. People are eating a lot of eggs, but Brooke Rollins has done a fantastic job. We have our Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent. He's central casting. I say, he's totally central casting, right? He's a great guy. He's done a good job. How's our economy doing, Scott? Pretty good, huh? Right through the roof. It's potentially, I think we have almost $19 trillion being invested. As an example, Sleepy Joe Biden, his administration, you know what it had? Less than $1 trillion for 4 years investment in the country. We have $19.2 trillion for 12 months. It's a big difference, and you see that all the factories being built all over the country. You will never have seen this, and you may never see it again. I don't think anybody's ever seen anything like it. We have our Secretary of the Interior, Doug Burgum, who's another star. He's a big star. He's helping me with all the fountains and all the statues all over Washington, and they're really looking good. We caught some people vandalizing our beautiful reflecting pool. We have the reflecting pool. They took a cutter, a box cutter or something very sharp. And can you imagine, where did these people come up with this? And they threw a little fertilizer in the water, which is not good. Fertilizer doesn't go well with water. Clear, beautiful water doesn't work well. But they caught him. They actually caught him, and those guys have some problems ahead of them. But they did some damage. But it looks beautiful. I just looked at it, Doug, and it looks beautiful. And they're going to fix it. They cut the bottom with a knife and pulled it and tried to do it as much damage as possible. These are sick people, but none of them are in the farming community. You're lucky. If you did have, you wouldn't put up with them very long, I don't think. But Secretary of Health and Human Services, and most people don't know this man. He's a very high-quality person. He's very brilliant, very difficult sometimes. He gets a little difficult to handle, but he's just a man that nobody knows, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Nobody has any idea who he is. Nobody has any idea. No, he's very popular. He's very popular. He just wants people to be healthy, and he loves the farmers, Bobby, right? He loves the farmers. And CMS Administrator Dr. Mehmet Oz, who's great. Who's a great man. Thank you, Mehmet. Thank you. Dr. Oz. Thanks as well to Will. We have a lot of governors and senators here. I won't introduce all of them. Some of them I don't like, so I'm not going to introduce the ones that... and some of them I like a lot. Nebraska Governor Jim Pillen is here. Jim, where are you? Jim, thank you, Jim. Nice to see you. Senators John Boozman and John Hoeven, Roger Marshall, Joni Ernst. Where are you guys? I'm having dinner with a couple of you. Hi, fellas. Representatives Austin Scott, Celeste Malloy, thank you very much. Are real farm people. They are at the top. They're always calling me about the farmer, along with Joni. And we also have with us President of the American Farm Bureau, Zippy Duval. I've known Zippy for a long time. Zippy, he is a Zippy. He's amazing. Thank you very much, Zippy. It's good to see you. You look good. Under the last administration, Sleepy Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, I changed the name. It's dumb. I will probably always, until they become reasonable, I'll use a U instead of an E. It's very simple. Most people don't know there's a B in dumb, so it's a very simple change. I take out the E and I put in the U, and they're Democrats because their policies are so dumb. So that came out a little while ago, and they hate the farmer too. So do you know that they hate you? You know that, don't you? Anyway, the Democrats, they gave us the worst inflation in the history of our country, 48 years to be exact. And they crushed farmers with the burdensome restrictions. In my first term, we had an agricultural trade surplus. Biden took that surplus and turned it into a $50 billion agricultural trade deficit. We had a big surplus with the farmer, and he took it in. I couldn't believe it. I was watching it happen with a rigged election, and he turned it into a $50 billion trade deficit. We had a deficit in agriculture, the worst we've ever had under Biden. He failed to negotiate a single trade deal on your behalf during a 4-year period. That's because he had no idea where the hell he was. And in his last year, farm bankruptcy rose to the highest levels ever, more than 55% up. One of the things I did for the farmers, I don't know if we get to it, but in the great big beautiful bill, so many farmers, they love their children and they want to leave their farm to the children, and the children love the farm, and they don't want to move into the big city because they're very smart. They want to stay in the farm, but a lot of the farmers are cash rich, and in some cases, and others are really land rich. And the ones that are land rich were having a little problem. They'd leave their farms, and their children would have to go out and borrow a lot of money to pay the estate tax or the death tax, a nasty tax, and it would be like 55, 60% in some cases, and they'd end up losing the farm. They'd go out, borrow the money, and the banks would end up owning the farm, and they did terrible things to themselves. It'd be, you know the story. It's a terrible thing, but there'd be suicides. They lost their farm. It was taken away. And I ended, in the great big beautiful bill, the death tax on farms and small businesses. So if you like your children, good. If you don't like your children, I would say leave the farm to somebody else.
And let's go to one of our sponsors, All Family Pharmacy, because as you guys know, Americans are tired of being told to wait or jump through endless hoops just to access the medications they may already know they need. Now, if your health is your responsibility, why does it feel like someone else is always in control? That's why more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. Whether it's everyday maintenance medications, common antibiotics, or simply being prepared before travel or emergencies, All Family Pharmacy makes the process simple, fast, and secure. No crowded waiting rooms, no unnecessary hassle, just a convenient way to order your medications online from a trusted U.S. pharmacy focused on helping families stay prepared. And because the reality is shortages, they happen. Delays happen, emergencies unfortunately happen. And peace of mind, of course, starts with being proactive instead of reactive. So right now, when you visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, use that promo code RSBN10, you'll save 10% off your order. Again, being prepared isn't extreme, it's common sense. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and use that RSBN10 promo code for 10% off today. This broadcast also brought to you by Birch Gold Group. As you see there, all you have to do is text Trump to 989898, because when there are supply constraints on commodities, prices, of course, they surge. You saw it with fuel prices when the Strait of Hormuz was blockaded. And we also know, of course, that gold is a limited commodity. They mine it out of the ground, and when it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more of it. And that's why everyone from central banks to savvy savers are diversified with gold. So if you've been thinking about it for years but have still never moved some of your savings into physical gold, Birch Gold Group is who we trust to help you. Now through May 29th, Birch Gold is giving first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. So for details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, just text Trump to that number you see on your screen there, 989898. We're told that Birch will actually help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Just text Trump to that number, 989898, to see if you qualify for a first-time gold buyer rebate of up to $10,000. Again, you'll get that free information kit as well. Just text Trump to 989898 today.
But you don't have the estate tax to pay now, so your children can live happily ever after, and they can enjoy being a farmer, and they can enjoy doing what they love to do. But now you have a president that fights for the American farmer, and after years of getting ripped off by other countries on trade, we've reduced the agricultural trade deficit just this year by 42%, opening markets to the American exports, and all over the world we're opening up markets for the farmers. And we have another one, a new market coming up, and that's called the lovely country of Iran. It's a beautiful place. Would anybody like to go there? The Islamic Republic of Iran, they're having a hard time with food, and we're going to be taking some of their money, and we'll spend it, and we're going to be buying wheat, soybeans, and corn, a lot of it. And that process is going to be starting pretty soon. It's going to be pretty big, too. I think it's going to be very big. We have an expanded market, dairy in Europe, and the dairy market, as you know, in Europe, we've opened it up because they had it closed. In Asia, South America, Australia is now allowing U.S. beef into its market for the first time in more than 25 years. And China is committed to purchase at least $17 billion in U.S. agricultural products, in particular soybeans. So I just left President Xi 3 or 4 weeks ago, and he's agreed to purchase $17 billion worth of mostly soybeans and different things, but mostly soybeans. I terminated the insane electric vehicle mandate where they wanted your tractors within 5 years to be all electric. That's just what you want, is an electric tractor. Would anybody like an electric tractor? Because typically it's not the greatest. You run out of fuel. If you're out in the field someday and you're running a little low on juice, you'll never get it started. You might as well abandon it. So ridiculous. But I ended the electric vehicle mandate, which would have gutted the ethanol industry forever. And I saved your ethanol industry, and I think everyone knows that. Maybe nobody more so than Joni and some of the great senators that we just mentioned. Senator Marshall has been calling me all the time, oh, you got to save the ethanol. So we did, right? We did. We saved it. We saved it. So it's very important. And the Democrats don't even know what ethanol is. We eliminated unnecessary restrictions on sales of E15. And I made it clear that I will sign a bill allowing E15 all year round. And that was something that was very important to the farmers. I also repealed the Biden administration's ridiculous Waters of the United States rule. It sounds so beautiful, the Waters of the United States. It sounds so beautiful, the Waters of the United States. It's a killer. It absolutely destroyed you and your businesses. Had a good name, and everything else was bad. When I did that, I said, I'm going to be killed by the fake news media with this one. I'm destroying the waters of the, think of that, the title. And when I did it, I was surrounded by farmers when I signed it, and half of them were crying. They said, you've saved our business, sir. Pretty amazing, right? We passed the largest tax cuts in American history and made the small business tax deduction permanent, benefiting 98% of farmers and ranchers to help keep your family farms in good shape. But it was a fantastic thing that we did for the farmer. I took a lot of heat because sometimes there is a group of people that are the exact opposite of the farmers, and what's good for the farmers is not good for them. But I am pro-farmer. I will tell you right now, I am pro-farmer. And yesterday we also called on Congress to pass a supplemental funding bill that will provide $11 billion in relief towards specialty crops and helping our great agricultural producers rebound from the losses that they had due to the Biden administration's horrible rules and regulations. So we're going to be getting an $11 billion payment in relief to our farmers. And Brooke, you'll distribute that money, hopefully equitably. You'll do it equitably, and you'll do a great job with it. I just want to tell you, you're special people, and you have been right from the beginning. From the day I ran, for some reason you like me. I came from the city slicker, and from the day I ran, you liked me, and from the day I ran, I liked you. And we won Iowa, and we won Nebraska. We won everything. We won everything there is to win having to do with the farms. And now I think we're more popular than ever before. And you have an interesting industry because you go up and down. It's, like a little bit of a yo-yo. But if you remember, last term I got you $28 billion because you were taken advantage of by a lot of countries, including China. And I took $28 billion out of the tariffs, and I made you all whole, beyond whole, I think, but we made you whole. And now even just in talking here, we're doing the $11 billion relief to help you get through a pretty difficult period of time. We're never going to let you down. We're never letting the farmer down. We let the farmer down, we're letting our country down, and we're doing great. Just so you understand that 2 years ago, we had a dead country. We were a dead country. We were a laughing stock all over the world. We had a man that couldn't walk down those 2 steps. We had a man that couldn't sign a document. He had to use an auto pen. You saw the auto pen over there? He was an auto pen. We call him the auto pen president. And think of it, like 96% of the things he signed, he couldn't sign his name. What happened was a rigged election. But think of it, 2 years ago, we were a country that was laughed at all over the world. The king of Saudi Arabia said to me, Mr. President, a year ago, this was when I was with him a year ago, he said, a year ago you had a dead country. We never thought you'd come back. And now you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We are the hottest country anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military. We took over Venezuela in less than 1 day. And the oil is flowing, and we're getting along with them great. We're going to, by the way, help them with their big. They had a tremendous earthquake last night that you read about, massive in Caracas. But we're going to help them out. But we did that. And Iran, effectively, within a week and a half, we knocked out their entire military, their leadership, their aircraft, their Navy. They had 159 ships within 1.5 weeks. They were all at the bottom of the sea. And then I have to listen to the fake news. Oh, they're much better today than they were then. These people are crazy. They want to make a deal with us very badly. And we probably will. I think we will. But the strait is open. Yesterday, they took out 19 million barrels of oil. That's the most in the history of the strait. And the oil prices are dropping like a rock. And, as goes oil, so goes everything else, including all of your products. You have to spend a lot of money for your tractors. Now you're going to be spending much less than you were spending just a few weeks ago. And, with all of and Scott will tell you this, with all of the things you hear about, we had to go and make a U-turn. We had the best numbers we've ever had. And I called in Scott, I called in Howard, I called in a lot of the people standing right there. I called in our great Secretary of the Interior, Doug, and I said, here's the story. We just hit records. Our country is doing better than it's ever done. The stock market, we've had 73 all-time highs in less than a year and a half. Think of that, 73 days we hit highs. But we had just hit the highest we ever were. And it was 3 months ago, 3.5 months ago. And I said, well, here's the story. We're doing great, but now we're going to have to make a U-turn. We're going to have to journey down to the Islamic Republic of Iran. Because if we don't do it, they're going to have a nuclear weapon. And if they have a nuclear weapon, the world is in great danger. Israel is gone. The Middle East is gone. But the world is in great danger. And I said, we're going to journey down. We're going to do what we have to do. And we did. We knocked the hell out of them. And now we're negotiating from a position of pure strength. Pure strength. They know that. And the strait's already open. And we're setting records in the strait. But we had to do that. We cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. You want to see problems, right? You know that. You want to see problems? You give them a nuclear weapon. They'll use it within the first hour, and we're not going to let that happen. So we did that. They will not have a nuclear weapon, and they've agreed to that, 100% agreed to that. But very importantly, though, we have the hottest country right now anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military in the world. I rebuilt the military in my first term. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're doing things that nobody believed. We're building more factories now than at any time in the history of our country. We're leading China by a lot on the AI. It's an AI revolution. We have the car companies pouring back into our country because of tariffs, because they don't want to pay the tariffs. So they're moving in from Canada, from Mexico, from Germany, from Japan, from South Korea, from all over the world. They're coming in. But we're building more factories than at any time, and plants than at any time in the history of our country. And as far as I'm concerned, you are the people. You are the very special ones. You're the chosen ones. You're the farmers. And you're the ones that keep it all going. So I'm with you 1,000%, Brooke. Great job you're doing. If she doesn't do a great job, let me know. I will fire her immediately. No, she's fantastic. And thank you very much. Have a great time. Turn on some music. Let's have a little music, right, for the farmers. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
This live stream broadcast brought to you by some great sponsors, including Kalshi.com/RSBN. As you see there on your screen, you have that QR code. You can get to Kalshi. You can also download the app if you'd like. A lot of political trending stories on Kalshi. You can check out so much polling for politics or faith or weather, music, movies, really anything. It's on there. Kalshi.com/RSBN. One of the big races people are following, of course, is that mayoral race in Los Angeles between Spencer Pratt and Karen Bass. Also, the gubernatorial election in California, a big one coming up as June 2nd is around the corner. So at the end of the day, Kalshi.com/RSBN, that's the place to go to check out the polls. But of course, for those that are betting and trading, that is a site that people are going to. More than 1 million users on there right now. Kalshi.com/RSBN. This also brought to you by Cove Pure. You've heard us talk about Cove Pure before, and if the water scares in Flint, Michigan and East Palestine, Ohio weren't enough to get you to make the switch, well, this might, because more than 176 million Americans are drinking tap water with those PFAs in it. They're the man-made chemicals used in food packaging, nonstick cookware, firefighting foam. Scientists call them forever chemicals because once they're in your body, unfortunately, they stay there. They don't break down, and then they're linked to hormone disruption, immune damage, and increased cancer risk. But here's the part that is making a number of people upset because the EPA, they did their part. They set legal limits for PFAS in drinking water back in 2024. But water systems have until 2031 to comply. That's a whole 5 years from now. And until that deadline arrives, the utility can be operating above the legal limit of these PFAS, and they're not required to notify you. So you're just drinking that water. And that's why every single household simply needs Cove Pure, because the government knows these chemicals are harmful enough to regulate. They're just not making anyone act on it yet. Recently, EPA Administrator Lee Zeldin did announce a $1 billion grant for smaller communities to get rid of forever chemicals. So moving in the right direction there. But in the meantime, if you want clean, healthy water, you're just going to have to do it yourself. And Cove Pure was engineered exactly for this. Unlike those normal pitcher filters that you see at the store out there, their Clearwave reverse osmosis technology is certified to remove up to 99.9% of contaminants. So those forever chemicals, the PFAs, the heavy metals, fluoride, pharmaceuticals, this product filters particles hundreds of thousands of times smaller than a single human hair. And the best part about Cove Pure is they make it so easy it sits right on your countertop. You don't have to drill any holes or call someone in to install it. You just plug it in. You can even get whatever temperature water you want, hot, cold, or warm, with a tap of a button. So don't wait until 2031. You can take control of your water quality right now. Head to covepure.com/RSBN. And as you see there on your screen, covepure.com/RSBN, you can save $250 right now if you go to covepure.com/RSBN. And joining us now is Kim Bright, founder of Bright Core Nutrition, of course, who's going into their 30th year in September and has been helping people with health and wellness for more than 50 years, so 5 decades. Thank you so much for joining us, Kim.
Well, thanks for having me back. I'm grateful to be here, Matthew.
Yeah, and I always enjoy our conversations here about Bright Core Nutrition, and I understand there's a health concern out there that's garnering more and more attention. We've talked about it here too. Can you explain to me exactly what microplastics are?
Yeah, microplastics are a big problem. They are these tiny plastic particles, usually smaller than 5 millimeters. And they form when the larger plastic items that we use all the time break down through either sunlight, heat, friction. They are finding them everywhere, Matthew, in our oceans, our rivers, our soil, the food, drinking water, and even our air. And, we have been unknowingly exposed to and ingesting these microplastics every single day for decades.
That's wild. That's wild because we hear about this a lot, microplastics, and people want to get away from it, and they want to talk about BPA free, that kind of thing. But how do these microplastics actually get into our body? And then once they're there, do they stay there, or how does this work?
Well, because these particles are so small, they can easily move up through the food chain, and then they eventually land in our organs. And the fruits and vegetables that we are eating every day are tainted because crop irrigation washes these microplastics into the soil. And then that's allowing these particles to be absorbed by the plants through their roots. And then get this, 88% of our meat, seafood, and other protein sources, including things like tofu, contain these microplastics now, 88%. And 94% of the water that we're drinking in the United States contains microplastics. And it's like I said, Matthew, it's even in the air we breathe. And the average American is inhaling 68,000 microplastic particles every single day. And we are ingesting 6 times more microplastics than we did in 1990.
Wow, that's a lot to take in. No pun intended. Once you do take it in, what does it mean for your health?
Well, for instance, if microplastic plaque is discovered in your arteries or veins, you're going to be 4.5 times more likely to die from a heart attack or stroke. And these microplastics have even been shown to cross the blood-brain barrier, which now we understand can lead to early onset dementia.
These are awful things to hear right now, but the question then is there really anything natural that we can do to try and combat these microplastics in our body?
Well, let me say first, our brains now are even 99.5% human and 0.5% plastic. That's about a plastic spoon's worth. So if you take a plastic spoon, a heavy-duty plastic spoon, that's what's in your brain. And the only thing that it's not easy for anybody to avoid plastic in our world that is dependent upon these plastics, and avoiding plastic bottles or containers or synthetic materials like the polyester in most all our clothing, and cutting down on packaged or processed foods. Those are all important steps, Matthew. But limiting the use of plastic is not going to be enough. We must take active steps to remove these toxins from the body before they do irreversible damage.
And then, so what are some of the solutions then to actually do that? Because, I mean, with all of your experience with wellness and health for the people, over 50 years of that, you guys are going to be, your company, 30 years young in September. So
Yes.
I'm sure you have a lot of, research as to what would be a good thing to do from there.
Well, yeah, I've read a lot of research over those 50 plus years. And, I'm 71 now, so I've really taken in a lot of research, let me tell you. But this brand new study that just came out shows how kimchi can actually eliminate and extract these microplastics from the body. I got so excited with this, and it's due to a specific strain of lactic acid bacteria known as LAB also, and it's unique, Matthew, to kimchi, and it's extremely effective in removing plastics in vivo.
That's pretty awesome to hear. Tell us about any product then that you guys may have when it comes to Bright Core Nutrition, because at the end of the day, we know about the word microplastics, as I mentioned at the top of the interview, is something that people understand now. It's not, maybe 10, 15 years ago, like you said, it wasn't as bad, but now it's really bad.
Oh, it's really bad. But before I get to that, I want to talk about another strain that's found in kimchi, the century-old food, called Bacillus pumilus. That's been shown to actually degrade the BPA you were talking about earlier. And that's the most toxic chemical in plastic. So the reason that kimchi is so effective is because of the direct impact that it's having on our gut microbiome. So keeping our gut microbiome healthy is what's going to determine the health of our entire body, Matthew. And having that perfect balance of good and bad bacteria is what keeps you healthy.
Yeah, I mean, we've heard about this kimchi product, or this kimchi to take. Can you tell us more about what kimchi actually is?
Well, kimchi is a century-old food, and it's proven itself down through the centuries. Koreans live 5 to 6 years longer than we do. That's where this originated. And the key to getting all these benefits from kimchi is daily consumption. They do this in Korea, sometimes every meal. But sometimes it's just not convenient or people don't like the taste, especially in America. So this is why we created something called Kimchi One. And whether you like the taste of kimchi or not, it's not something that is easy, again, to eat every single day. But now it is, because what we did is we put it in convenient capsules made for your daily use, and we use a cold process drying method to retain all of its fiber. That's the prebiotics that feed your probiotics, and it contains the nutrition of actual fermented kimchi. Now, it's low in sodium, unlike store-bought. It's 100% made in the USA, and our Kimchi One is all natural, non-GMO, and that includes the capsules that we use. Our capsules are all natural and plant-based, and again, 100% made in the USA. And we have so many success stories from people that have been using our Kimchi One. They write us, they call us, people that had problems with their digestion and bloating are finally regular. They don't deal with all that gas anymore. People who had problems with their immune system and used to get sick all the time aren't getting sick anymore. Remember, 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut. And people who experience chronic fatigue finally have energy again, Matthew. And lastly, people with diabetes who struggle with their blood sugar, blood pressure, and their weight, they're experiencing dramatic changes.
The question I have then is, how can I get some? How can I tell my family about this? Where do I go to get that? Because, and that's not joking. I've heard, like I said, I've heard of kimchi before, but the fact that, yeah, you can bypass the whole taste of it and all that through a capsule that's already plant-based. So tell us how you get one of these. Is it a bottle product or what is it?
Yes, it's capsules in a bottle. So get 25% off by going to brightcore.com/RSBN and use the code RSBN, or call 888-722-0936 for up to 50% off plus free shipping. Now, we're a small family business going into our 30th year. We want you to call so we can talk to you and make sure that this is the right product for you. And the first 100 callers are going to get a free vitamin D plus K2 with their order. So remember, you're only going to get those discounts, those best discounts in that free bottle of vitamin D3 plus K2 when you call 888-722-0936.
The thing I really like about this is kimchi is, we talked about before, is natural. This is a natural product, isn't it?
It's a food, yes. And God gave us this wonderful food, this fermented food.
Awesome stuff. Kim Bright is the founder of Bright Core Nutrition, again, going into their 30th year in September. And Kim has been helping people with health and wellness for more than 5 decades. Kim, thank you for your friendship to this network, and we look forward to talking to you again.
Thank you. God bless and happy 4th of July.
You too. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And let's go to one of our sponsors, All Family Pharmacy, because as you guys know, Americans are tired of being told to wait or jump through endless hoops just to access the medications they may already know they need. Now, if your health is your responsibility, why does it feel like someone else is always in control? That's why more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. Whether it's everyday maintenance medications, common antibiotics, or simply being prepared before travel or emergencies, All Family Pharmacy makes the process simple, fast, and secure. No crowded waiting rooms, no unnecessary hassle, just a convenient way to order your medications online from a trusted U.S. pharmacy focused on helping families stay prepared. And because the reality is shortages, they happen. Delays happen, emergencies unfortunately happen. And peace of mind, of course, starts with being proactive instead of reactive. So right now, when you visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, use that promo code RSBN10, you'll save 10% off your order. Again, being prepared isn't extreme, it's common sense. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and use that RSBN10 promo code for 10% off today. This broadcast also brought to you by Birch Gold Group. As you see there, all you have to do is text Trump to 989898, because when there are supply constraints on commodities, prices, of course, they surge. You saw it with fuel prices when the Strait of Hormuz was blockaded. And we also know, of course, that gold is a limited commodity. They mine it out of the ground, and when it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more of it. And that's why everyone from central banks to savvy savers are diversified with gold. So if you've been thinking about it for years but have still never moved some of your savings into physical gold, Birch Gold Group is who we trust to help you. Now through May 29th, Birch Gold is giving first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. So for details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, just text Trump to that number you see on your screen there, 989898. We're told that Birch will actually help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Just text Trump to that number, 989898, to see if you qualify for a first-time gold buyer rebate of up to $10,000. Again, you'll get that free information kit as well. Just text Trump to 989898 today.
History remembers this moment, where the Declaration lay before Congress.
Even though the truth is, this scene never existed.
You speak of order, but I see only oppression. How dare you! We speak for the people! Then listen, we demand representation now!
After Lexington and Concord, patriots had taken up arms, but had no unified voice to speak for them.
We must find a consensus before the vote.
So Congress formed a Continental Army.
That is the general from Virginia.
The only man impractical enough to wear a uniform to a political meeting.
But even with an army, we had not yet decided what exactly we were fighting for. We petitioned the king for peace. He answered by calling us traitors.
For as in absolute governments the king is law, so in free countries the law ought to be king, and there ought to be no other.
We do accordingly strictly charge and command all our officers, as well civil as military, and all other our obedient and loyal subjects to use their utmost endeavors to withstand and suppress such rebellion, and to disclose and make known all treasons and traitorous conspiracies.
Nothing speeds independence like being threatened with a good hanging.
The odds are not in our favor.
Perhaps, but our cause is just.
The war widened, old hopes thinned, and the question was no longer whether we would separate, but when. They asked me to draft the Declaration, and in that cramped room, I began the work of defining a people's right to be free.
The heat, the flies, the secrecy, liberty does not begin in comfort. Clarity is its own kind of poetry.
Line by line, we carved the case for separation. Every charge weighed. Every word contested. By July, the question came to a vote.
That night, despite his illness and the malady that consumed him, Rodney abandoned his convalescence to ride 80 miles to break the tide vote.
12 colonies voted for independence.
Maryland, aye.
1 abstained.
Virginia, aye.
The deed was done, not with cheers, but with a trembling. On the 4th, the Declaration was approved. And on the 8th, it was read aloud to the people.
We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created, and declare that these colonies are, and of right ought to be free and independent.
Fine words, but words alone would not secure liberty. That task belonged to the men standing barefoot in the dirt.
We set our names upon that parchment, knowing the cost, and believing the world would be better for it.
We must all hang together, or most assuredly, we shall all hang separately.
We're heading south, southeast, to the great state of Alabama. Over here, they have some Alabama history sketched out in cartoon fashion with Helen Keller. It's the space capital. Rosa Parks, Hank Williams, Tuskegee Airmen. Sweet Home Alabama, this shows you a little bit of their golf trail. So some of their iconic golf courses around the state. Right here along the water. This one's probably really beautiful. Magnolia Grove and Grand Hotel Golf Resort and Spa autograph collection. Over here you can hit the trails with all of Alabama's state parks laid out on display so you can see where the state parks are in Alabama. They have beaches in Alabama, amazing seafood, of course. Here's more shipping containers for the maritime industry in the southern part of Alabama. Gulf Shores, Alabama. The beaches are beautiful. And Bryant-Denny Stadium, huge football stadium. Hyundai Motor Manufacturing in Alabama. So it's great to see car manufacturing, automobile manufacturing here in the United States, where tradition meets innovation, the great state of Alabama. As we walk over here, they're showcasing some U.S. Space and Rocket Center photos. Big Bob Gibson barbecue. Barbecue food is big in Alabama. The Alabama Battleship Memorial Park. Southern Research Center. There's some hiking trails and water features to see in Alabama. Timber harvesting is big in the state. And some stickers that say Sweet Home Alabama, of course. You all know the song. Alabama peanuts. Grow, harvest, and enjoy the peanuts in the great state of Alabama. They have some lounge chairs, so if you want to take a break, you can pop into Alabama, have a seat for a few minutes.
And let's go to one of our sponsors, All Family Pharmacy, because as you guys know, Americans are tired of being told to wait or hoops just to access the medications they may already know they need. Now, if your health is your responsibility, why does it feel like someone else is always in control? That's why more people are turning to All Family Pharmacy. Whether it's everyday maintenance medications, common antibiotics, or simply being prepared before travel or emergencies, All Family Pharmacy makes the process simple, fast, and secure. No crowded waiting rooms, no unnecessary hassle, just a convenient way to order your medications online from a trusted U.S. pharmacy focused on helping families stay prepared. And because the reality is shortages, they happen. Delays happen, emergencies unfortunately happen. And peace of mind, of course, starts with being proactive instead of reactive. So right now, when you visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN, use that promo code RSBN10, you'll save 10% off your order. Again, being prepared isn't extreme, it's common sense. Visit allfamilypharmacy.com/RSBN and use that RSBN10 promo code for 10% off today. This broadcast also brought to you by Birch Gold Group. As you see there, all you have to do is text Trump to 989898 because when there are supply constraints on commodities, prices, of course, they surge. You saw it with fuel prices when the Strait of Hormuz was blockaded. And we also know, of course, that gold is a limited commodity. They mine it out of the ground, and when it's gone, it's gone. Governments can't just print more of it. And that's why everyone from central banks to savvy savers are diversified with gold. So if you've been thinking about it for years but have still never moved some of your savings into physical gold, Birch Gold Group is who we trust to help you. Now through May 29th, Birch Gold is giving first-time gold buyers a rebate of up to $10,000 on qualifying purchases. So for details and a free information kit on diversifying into gold, just text Trump to that number you see on your screen there, 989898. We're told that Birch actually help you convert an existing IRA or 401k into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. Just text Trump to that number, 989898, to see if you qualify for a first-time gold buyer rebate of up to $10,000. Again, you'll get that free information kit as well. Just text Trump to 989898 today.
Chuck Adams grabbed his clubs about 9:15 every Thursday morning, rain or shine. Down in Opelika where the pines sway free, Chuck Adams grabbed his clubs about 9:15 every Thursday morning, rain or shine. He's headed to the course with some golf on his mind. Me, I pull in slow to the country club gate, coffee in hand, always running late, with a smile and a grin and a ball to a tee. It's game time, boys, just Chuck and me. We take 2 shots off the tee, that's how we roll. One for the scorecard, one for the soul. Mulligans fly like sweet iced tea at Salgahatchee, where we feel free. Laughing, lying, shanking a few. It ain't just golf, it's what we do. Chuck Adams swings with grace and glee every Thursday. Just him and me. He's got a sun-stained hat and a heart of gold. Stories from the fairway that never get old. Tells me about a church and a sweet Carissa too. Then he duffs his wedge and we laugh like fools. Lunch at the turn with a burger and fries. Talking about the Lord and college football ties. Yeah, we keep score, but we don't need proof. When you're playing with Chuck, the joy's the truth. We take 2 shots off the tee, that's how we roll. One for the scorecard, one for the soul. Mulligans fly like sweet iced tea at Salgahatchee, where we feel free. Laughing, lying, shanking a few. It ain't just golf, it's what we do. Chuck Adams swings with grace and glee every Thursday. Just him and me. So here's to the greens and the stories we share, to the slice in the woods and not a single care. If you ever need joy or a brotherly hug, just come tee it up with old Chuck. We take 2 shots off the tee, that's how we roll. One for the scorecard, one for the soul. Mulligans fly like sweet iced tea at Salgahatchee, where we feel free. Yeah, that's our game and always will be. Chuck Adams and me, wild and free.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome back to the stage, Ralph Reed.
Are you guys ready? I know he's ready, but I'm going to give him a proper introduction because this man, our next speaker, is no stranger to this conference or this stage. In fact, today marks his 10th appearance at the Faith and Freedom Road to Majority Conference. He has been here as a private citizen, as a candidate, and we are pleased to welcome him back today as President of the United States. With the seal back on the podium where it belongs, amen? This is a man who alone, among all the leaders that we have had, gave us the most conservative Supreme Court in over a century. This is a man who, after decades of incompetence and criminal negligence, gave us the most secure border the United States has ever had. He signed the largest tax cut in history that is fueling the greatest economy the world has ever seen. He moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and he gave us the closest relationship and collaboration with our ally Israel that the nation has ever known. And he alone had the courage and the moral clarity to order and direct military action against Iran to make sure it will never have a nuclear weapon. They impeached him, they indicted him, they tried to imprison him, they tried to knock him off the ballot, and then they tried to kill him. And it all failed because God has a purpose for this man. And it is to save our nation. Please welcome back to this stage the 45th and the 47th President of the United States, Donald J. Trump.
From the lakes of Minnesota to the hills of Tennessee, across the plains of Texas, from sea to shining sea, from Detroit down to Houston, and New York to LA, where there's pride in every American heart, and it's time we stand and say, there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA. And I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me. And I gladly stand up next to you and defend her still today, 'cause there ain't no doubt I love this land. God bless the USA.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I want to thank Ralph for the introduction. He's a great guy and friend of mine for a long time. And thank you to all of the true American patriots of Faith and Freedom Coalition. You've been with me from the beginning, and pretty much like nobody else, I don't think can top you. You were just great right from the beginning. You got it. You understood what we had to do, and we got it done, and we're continuing to get it done at levels that nobody's seen before. With the help of many people in this room, 18 months ago, we won the most consequential election victory in American history. Winning all 7 swing states, the Electoral College by 312 to 226, the popular vote, and 86% of all counties in America, 2,700 to 525. That's called a big victory. The Faith and Freedom Coalition was with us every step of the way. You knocked on 97 million doors. It's true. Ralph actually told me 10 million, so I had checked. It was 9.7 million. You reached 18 million voters. Think of that, voters of faith. You sent 28 million text messages and made 10 million phone calls to help us win a mandate like no other administration in modern history. It was a mandate like we have not seen before. And together we saved our country, and we saved religious freedom in America. We saved religious. It was going down. And you've always stood with me, and I will always stand with you. I'll always remember it. I'll always remember how hard you worked and your spirit. I especially want to thank Pastor Paula White, who's with us. Paula, wherever you may be. Thank you, Paula. Great person. Director of the White House Faith Office, Jenny Korn. Terrific. Jenny, thank you very much. Bishop Kevin Koberis. Where is Kevin? Thank you, Kevin. Good job. Nice looking man. President of the National Hispanic Christian Leadership Conference, Pastor Sam Rodriguez, who's been with me from the beginning. This place is crowded. I remember this place not so long ago. Hopefully, we'll have a little more pleasant. We're going to have a little more pleasant experience. I remember this room very well. A friend of mine who has been just incredible, Dr. Alveda King. Doctor, thank you. Thank you, darling. She's been with me also from the beginning. So many from the beginning. You can tell so much. The ones from the beginning, I don't know, they tend to be the ones, they're the ones they stay, and they stay like nobody. And we appreciate all of those people. An ambassador to the United Nations who's doing a really great job. Mike Waltz, he's around here someplace. Mike, doing a really good job. And just over 1 week from now, we will celebrate the 250th anniversary of the Declaration of Independence, marking 2.5 centuries of glorious American freedom. And thanks to the extraordinary work and incredible devotion of patriots like those people in this very, very crowded ballroom, today I can proudly report that on the edge of our 250th year, America is back. It's back. It's back. I believe better than ever before. And I'm especially pleased to say that, likewise, religion is back in our country, bigger and stronger than it has been in many, many years. Been reading all of those reports. Religion's really, it's going up. If that were stuck, we'd be very, very rich, all of us. It's been great to watch. And as I've said before, to be a great nation, you have to have religion and you have to have God in your nation. If you don't have that, it just doesn't seem to work out, does it? And we have it. We have religion and we have God now. Remember when I first started, 2016, they wanted to take the Christmas out of Christmas. Remember that? We ended that little drive, but we ended a lot of other drives too. From the very beginning of our country, American greatness has been forged by people of faith, and the very first settlers who set foot upon this new world at Jamestown got off their ship, raised up a cross, and bowed down to the Lord in prayer. It was faith that strengthened the Minutemen and who stood up at Lexington Green and Concord Bridge in Philadelphia 250 years ago. Next week, our founders invoked the Creator 4 times in the Declaration of Independence. 4 times. I wasn't mentioned once. I'm very upset. Not once. Faith pushed the pioneers to journey west. Faith led Americans to abolish slavery, and faith built this country into the most exceptional nation in the history of the world. It was going very badly a couple of years ago, very badly, but it's back really strong. But we have to be very careful because bad things are happening. Can I watch what's happening? And we're going to be discussing that in just a minute. Americans have always deeply believed in the promise of Christ's words in the Gospel of Matthew. With God, all things are possible. With God, all things are possible, right? All things. That's why as we prepared to enter the 250th year last month, tens of thousands of patriots came together on our national mall, and we officially rededicated America as one nation under God. And we're not changing. We're not changing. And we always have been, and we always will be. We're not going to let them take it away. But as we celebrate this anniversary, we must also remember that our country could have been marking this occasion under very different circumstances. The last administration carried out a reign of persecution and repression against Christians and people of faith like America has never seen before. It's terrible. They turned a nation founded on freedom for believers into a place where Catholics were targeted by the FBI, where pro-life grandmothers were put in jail for praying, and where members of our military were thrown out of the armed forces for their religious beliefs. The radicals responsible for these offenses would have loved nothing more than to mark America's 250th anniversary by driving God from our public square once and for all. They wanted to do that. I don't know how anybody could vote for these people. They were so bad, they were so evil, and yet in many ways incompetent, certainly incompetent on policy, open borders, transgender for everybody, men and women's sports, just grossly incompetent ideologies, and so many more. But they did not get that chance because they lost an election in a landslide, and we won an election in a landslide. And while I am in the White House, I will defend Christians and all Americans of faith 100%. You have it 100%, and you've seen it already. So upon taking office, I created the first ever Presidential Commission on Religious Liberty, led by Texas Lieutenant Governor, a great guy. I don't know if he's here. I know he's coming over to my office in a little while, a thing called the Oval Office, beautiful office. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, and my friend, Dr. Ben Carson. I don't know, so many people in this room, I don't know if they're here, they may be here, but they're two great people. And later today at the White House, they will present me with their official report and recommendations to ensure that America continues to uphold the first right in our Constitution, and that's religious liberty. We have to uphold religious liberty, most important thing. On day one of my administration, I ended the weaponization of law enforcement against religious believers. You know that. I pardoned the Christians Joe Biden threw in jail for saying prayers. He threw him in jail. You know, he didn't know what the hell he was doing. The guy's grossly incompetent. But he was surrounded by very smart, in some cases brilliant, lunatics. I got rid of the sinister Johnson Amendment so that pastors can speak the truth at their pulpits. We created the very, very popular White House Faith Office, first time that's ever happened. And I set up an official Department of Justice task force to eradicate anti-Christian biases. Anti-Christian bias, who would think? At a high level, too, although it's fading, going to fade fast. That task force just produced a new documentary revealing the abuses of religious freedom that they uncovered. It's called By Dawn's Early Light, and it's out right now, and it's really supposed to be, I have not seen it. I cannot tell a lie. I have not seen it, but I've heard about it, and I hear it's great, and I will see it I hope soon. I also signed a historic executive order to combat the scourge of anti-Semitism in our country. And we reinstated the warriors who were thrown out of our military by the Biden vaccine mandates and restored them to their former ranks. And we let them back with full pay. Is that good? We want to cut costs, but we figured we have to take care of them. And we're protecting our churches and synagogues by prosecuting mobs of radical left lunatics and agitators who try to harass and intimidate people in their places of worship not so long ago. And to help parents send their children to schools that share their values, I signed the largest expansion of school choice in the history of our country, including in Texas. And in my direction, the Department of Education issued new guidance protecting the right to prayer in public schools. That was a big thing. And these are all things that they fought us very strongly, very, very strongly. Hard to believe they'd fight us on that, but we had to fight the good battle, but we won every time. We slashed federal funding for any school that pushes transgender insanity on our youth. We expanded the Mexico City policy to stop taxpayer dollars from being used to promote radical gender ideology around the world. Radical gender ideology, it is. I made it the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. That wasn't too tough. That was sort of an easy one, but we have a man running in Texas who thinks there are 6 genders. I don't know what. He's going to have to discuss that with us. Can you believe it? 6 genders. And we officially banned the chemical and surgical mutilation of our children. And now we have to pass the Save America Act to protect our sacred American elections. Have to pass it. Hard to believe, right? Hard to believe that we even have to fight for this. We have to fight for everything. Nothing comes easy. Nothing. All voters must show photo ID. Not so bad, right? All voters must provide proof of citizenship. Is that so hard? And you're fighting the Democrats and a few Republicans who are doing a tremendous disservice to this country. We have a few Republicans that are fighting it. Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. You should call her and tell her to get on the ball. She'll never win another election, I can tell you. She's got to vote. It's called the Save America Act. It's voter ID, ideally photo ID, right? So you can look and you can say, oh, that person's okay, or for lots of reasons, that person is not the same person. We want proof of citizenship. And we want no mail-in ballots except for illness, disability, and military deployment or travel. We'll be very judicious. Look what's happening in California, where the ballots still aren't in. They're still not, can you believe it? Weeks afterwards, you know what's happening? They're cheating. The kid won, or he was certainly in the top 2. I don't know him, I never met him, Spencer Pratt. And he went away quietly. We didn't go away quietly, but he shouldn't go away quietly. He should protest because it was, in my very strong opinion, that was a rigged election. That kid should be in the runoffs. The woman who edged him out after like a long time, days and days. And then you'd hear reports, Spencer Pratt is not doing so well, even though he was strongly in the lead. And then you hear, Spencer Pratt has a 20% chance of being in the runoff. I said, they just rigged the election. And then you hear that a woman who nobody ever heard of is in the runoff, not him. And then they tried to hurt Steve Hilton, too. And I called the U.S. attorney and I said, you have to look into this because Steve Hilton did great. He's running for governor. And you could see it. The election was there. He was doing great. Then day after day, you'd hear reports about vote counting. They go on for weeks. You know, Colombia just had an election, the country of Colombia, 30 million voters. And I endorsed. I'm endorsed. We do so well with endorsements, like almost 100% success. But I endorsed somebody running, El Tigre. I liked him. You know why? Because he likes me. I don't know. He used to talk about Trump. I like President Trump. I don't know. How can you not let? So I endorsed him. I didn't know. He was in way down the list. He was not going to win. No chance of winning. I endorsed him and he won. He just announced he won. But think of it. They had 30 million votes. By 9:30 in the evening, every single vote was counted. And there were no complaints. He won. Every vote was counted. Here we are in California. They're going to go for weeks and weeks and weeks. And you know what they do? They cheat. How many votes do we need? How many votes? That's why they take their time. How many votes do we need? Okay, here they are. Honestly, it's terrible. We're a third world country with elections. And we will also enshrine a permanent law that says very easily and succinctly, no men in women's sports and no transgender surgery for our children. Never forget, if the radical left ever gets the chance, they will bring all of this insanity right back at levels that you've never seen before. You will never have seen anything like it if they ever get their chance. And they're trying like hell. I call them the Democrats. I exchanged an E for a U. The Democrats. And it's trending #1, the word Democrat. I just can't believe I didn't think of it 9 years ago. I should have thought. The Democrats, they are horrible. They want to resume the transgender mutilation of our children. They want to restart the war on Christians and churches. And as you saw with the communists elected in New York City recently, they're communists, they're not social democrats. They want to completely destroy the traditional American way of life. Communism is very easy to sell. It destroys everything, but it's very easy. I'll be honest, I think I'd be the greatest communist in history. I'd give free rent. Ladies and gentlemen, from now on, you don't have to pay any rent. From now on, anybody wants a house, don't worry about it. Just pick the house you want. Everybody gets free food. Everything is free from this point forward. Everyone's going to vote for me. The problem is, after 2 or 3 years, the country is a disaster area. The country fails. They always do. It always does. So easy to sell. That first year, boy, you're the most popular. It's happening right now in New York and California. But you'll start living in squalor. You'll live in squalor. There will be no food. There will be no housing. There will be no military. There will be no law and order. There will be no nothing. There will be no nothing. You'll be a third world inhabitant in every way, and everyone will suffer or die. You'll suffer or die. That's what happens. For thousands of years it's been happening by different names. Thousands of years. I'm telling you, I'd be the greatest communist in history. It would be so easy. You wouldn't have to work. You could stay home. The problem is a couple of years go by, the whole place collapses. Always does. Always has. But I'm sorry to say, but assassinations of those who oppose them is a very important element of their ideology. Assassination's a big deal for them. They're animals. They're animals. In many cases, they're not smart, but in some cases, they are. It's easy for them to get followers because they make promises that they know they can't keep, and the Democrats aren't fighting back. That's why they're dumb. They're not fighting back. They're afraid. I watch Schumer. He's afraid to fight. I watch guys that are pretty normal, and guys that we oppose, they're afraid to fight. The Democrats have taken a tremendous turn left, and many of these people, I looked at some of the people that got elected the other night in New York. These are, in many ways, stupid people. In some ways, and intellectually, probably pretty smart. But they're people that want to destroy our country. They hate our country. They hate our people. They hate the Democrat Party. The Democrat Party is in big trouble because this isn't stopping with New York. This is going all. It's too easy to get elected. Giving everything away. Too easy to get elected. Very dangerous. But you'll soon have nothing left. That's the problem. In many ways, they're allowing them to just go their own way, do your own. We don't want to take a chance on saying anything bad because we're afraid we're going to lose our jobs if we do. They're afraid they're going to lose their election if they even think about saying anything bad about this new breed of sick people. They're not smart enough or tough enough to fight the plague that's happening. It's happening right before your very eyes. If they fought them the way they fight Republicans or the way they fight me, they'd be victorious. They didn't beat us, but they'd be victorious against the communists. But they don't have the courage to do so, so they're turning communists themselves. It's becoming a communist party. These are not social democrats. These are hardcore, godless communists. They're godless communists. All communists are godless. They don't believe in God. This is the most serious threat to our country since its existence, in my opinion, 250 years ago. This is a major threat to our country. It isn't something that's easily solved, but with a little love and help, some hard work. Because it's ironic, we're celebrating a very important birthday, our most important birthday so far, 250 years. And instead of speaking about Christ, and instead of speaking about freedom and victories of all different kinds, we're speaking about yet another threat to the foundations of America. These ruthless communists will attack all religions, but in particular Christianity. They always do. They're after Christianity more than any other religion. It seems to be more and more throughout the world, maybe because we're doing so well. I don't know. Maybe if we weren't doing well. But you see the numbers, how they're growing, how the churches are filling up. It's a beautiful thing to see. I mean, look, it happens to be during my presidency, so I don't mind taking credit for it. I'm very proud. But a lot of great things are happening. All communist countries attack religions violently. It's part of their deal. As you know, we recently struck Nigeria and largely ended the slaughter of great Christian populations. They have a great Christian population. They were being butchered. Thousands and thousands of people were being killed. Children, women, old people, just being slaughtered, hatched to death. They know that if they go further, the attack will be far greater, and that they don't want to really get involved anymore so much. You know, we hit them very hard. We knocked out their leader. We knocked out their second leader and their third leader. Sounds a little bit like Iran, actually. That's all about a different cause that we have to do, because we cannot let Iran have a nuclear weapon. Can't let it happen. So I'm saving Christians throughout the world, even though we are not in those various countries where you read about this. But they'd like to make our country just like those countries. That's where they started. They started right where we are right now. But I'm saving them by hitting these terrorists very violently and very hard. We're hitting them very hard by the greatest weapons on earth, taking them out. We know where they are. We hunt them down and we take them out. Think of it. They go into a village and they just kill everybody. It's like crazy. They will close your churches in this country. They go communist, and they're trying to. They will kill your people, and that's what they're about. They want to end religion. They have to end religion because their ideology doesn't work if you have strong religion, people like you that are so incredible and love our country so much and love God. This is the greatest threat to our country since its founding, in my opinion, 250 years ago, what's happening right now. It's the greatest threat. People don't look at that, well, oh, 3 people were elected. No, it's many more than 3 people. And the other people are being swayed because they don't have the sense to see what's happening. They don't have the sense. Their followers are not leaders, even though they're politicians, in some cases successful ones. For the first time in history, the powerful Rent Stabilization Board, as an example, that sets rents in New York City, just happened today. They've done it for years and years, and they've been very far left. They're run by Democrats, and they give landlords a hard time for years and years, called rent control. They give landlords a hard time, but they always give some increases so they can survive. But they just came out, first time ever, with a ruling, 0 rent increases for landlords, 0 for the next 2 years, despite the fact that energy, supplies, real estate taxes, and just about everything else has gone up. They're supposed to allow you to have that. Zero. They're giving them that. They're basically confiscating their property. And the one representative for the landlords who's on the board, I think they have 8 or 9 people on the board, and you had one who was representing one out of like 8. But at least you had somebody. But that person walked off in disgust, walked off and got booed. Mayor Mamdani, who came to the White House and seems like a nice guy, but he said he was going to do this in his campaign. Nobody thought he was serious. He said he was going to make sure that people don't have a rent increase, even though energy went up. It's going to come down. It's coming down fast right now. I hope you're watching what's happening. We had a low number just now, $69 a barrel. That was, some people said it was going to be $350 by now. 69, it's going to be 300, 350. Never hit those numbers at all, even in the height of it all. But what the mayor doesn't say is that these buildings will soon turn into ghettos and slums, and that everybody will continue leaving New York. And as this spreads throughout the country, very much like an uncontrollable form of cancer, the country itself will be taken down. It will be third world, strictly third world. And it's happened many times before to very big and very powerful countries. But it's not going to happen to the United States of America. No way. Because communism really is the past and freedom is the future. That's what we are. All we want is freedom. Freedom is going to be, freedom gets you everything. Everyone needs to get out and vote in the midterms. We have to win this election. This election is very vital. If we don't, everything that we've gotten so much. I mean, religious liberty, but we've gotten so much. Our military is the strongest in the world. I built it during my first term, strongest in the world. And people respect us again. They respect us maybe like never before. We were laughed at a year and a half ago. We were laughed at. And now we're the most respected nation anywhere in the world. And in our 250th year, we will make our nation stronger and safer, better, more prosperous, and more faithful. Very important, more faithful than ever before. Today, we have the largest economy on earth. We're expanding at a degree and to a degree that nobody thought possible. They never thought what we're doing for the last year and a half. It's only a year and a half. What we're doing for the last year and a half, nobody thought was possible. We have the strongest military on earth. We have the most powerful technology on earth. We're winning on AI. We're winning with automobile manufacturing. Do you see how many plants are coming back into the United States? Tariffs. If they don't come in, they have to pay massive tariffs. Make your car outside, but you have to pay massive tariffs to come in. If you build your car in the United States using U.S. workers, our great American workers, you don't have any tariffs to pay. So they're all pouring in. It should have been done years ago by other presidents. We have the greatest culture on earth, and above all, we have the greatest people on earth. We do. We have the greatest people. But think of it. I was with the King of Saudi Arabia, and he said, Mr. President, 2 years ago, your country was dead. It was a dead country. And today, you're the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's amazing what's happened. We were laughed at. We had a man who couldn't speak, couldn't think. He didn't know what the hell was happening. Kept falling down all over the place. If he was standing here now, he would have been off the stage before he started. But if he was standing here now, he wouldn't know how to get off the stage. You had to lead him off the stage. It was a disaster, and it was a rigged election. But we did it again, and we got it right. Too big to rig. We made it too big to rig. It was a rigged election. And look what happened because it was a rigged election. 25 million people came in, many criminals, murderers, 11,808 murderers, more than 50% of who created more than one murder, murdered more than one person. These are not going to be the citizens of our country. There's not a thing you can do to change that. But drug dealers at the highest level, the worst, some of the worst people on earth came in through open borders Joe Biden's, but really it was the ideologies, open border policy where everybody could come in. They came from all over the world. They emptied their prison populations into the United States of America. Think of that. But we're getting them out. We're getting them out faster than anybody can imagine. And we're going after the bad ones first. We're getting them out. Last week, we signed a historic agreement to accomplish what no president has ever been able to accomplish before, that Iran will never have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to let that happen. And thanks to the power and skill of the United States Armed Forces, Iran today has no Navy, no Air Force, no anti-aircraft capability, no radar, virtually no manufacturing. Their drone capacity has been cut by 82%. Their missile capacity has been cut by 80%. Their rocket launchers have been cut by 90%. Their leadership has been killed a first time, and their leadership has been killed a second time. And nobody wants to be the leader of Iran anymore. They said, who would like to be the president? And everyone said, no, thank you. It's amazing. And then the fake news, like the New York Times, which is a failing publication. But the fake news, ABC, so bad, ABC television network, fake ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. They actually said for a little while, it didn't play well, that Iran was much stronger today than it was 4 months ago. Think of it. They have no Navy. They have no... They said they're stronger. They're dying to make a deal. They're giving us a lot. This should have been done over the 47-year period that they've reigned with terror. And that's what they did. They reigned with terror. When you see a young man or woman walking around without legs or without arms or a face that was obliterated, it happened from the roadside bomb that was created, the creation of General Soleimani, who I killed in my first term. And that was a big killing. He was a mad genius, but he was going to knock out 5 of our military installations. I found out about it. And in all fairness, Israel was supposed to do it with us. And the night before that took place, we heard from Israel that they will not be doing it. They don't want to do it. And I said to a couple of generals that we had who were very good, I said, what do you think, generals? Can we do it? Because we worked on it for 30 days, worked on it with Israel. They said, we'll do it, sir. Can we do it as well? We'll do it better. And he was dead the next day. He was dead in the valley of death. He died in the valley of death. We had him all. We knew when he was coming, where he was coming, how he was getting there. We knew everything, but we lost our partner. I don't blame them that much, to be honest with you, because it's tough stuff. But they told us the night before they won't be doing it. We did it ourselves, and we did it so incredibly well. We also took out the head of Iraq's ISIS division, and we took out both of them by luck with Iraq. But had he lived, because he was a brilliant general, very sick man mentally, but he was a brilliant general, it may have been a different story. I don't think so. I think we would have knocked the hell out of him whether he was there or anybody else was there. But he was a brilliant general. It's one of the biggest things ever to happen in the Middle East, the killing of Soleimani. People have said it's the biggest thing to happen in 100 years because he was a dominant force. I actually think that Khomeini and all of the people in Iran were happy about it because they were afraid of him too. Over the past few weeks, the stock market and your 401ks skyrocketed upward like pretty much nobody's seen before. Oil prices are plummeting downward, and the world is a much safer place. We had to take that detour to knock out Iran. If we didn't do that, and we're still, we still have a fight. They have some capability, not much. They're not winning or anything, but they have some capability. They can still shoot. They shot a drone yesterday at a big ship going into the Hormuz Strait. They shot 4 of them. We knocked down 3 of them. One of them, I guess, we didn't miss it. Nobody saw it coming. And it hit a ship and did some damage. But you can't do that stuff. But very soon we're going to be at $2.50 gasoline. I was in Iowa making a speech the day before we did the attack. And again, we had to turn it around. Everything was going so well. It's like, you're doing so well. We have the best economy. Everything's great. And I say, I brought my people into the room, my financial people and other people. I said, listen, we just set a record in the stock market. We just set a record in every single thing, including 401ks. Your 401ks, most of you have 401ks, are at the highest they've ever been, everything. But this was true 3.5 months ago, before the attack. Everything was good. We had records and everything. We were doing great. And I said, I hate to tell you, but we're going to have to take a detour. We're going to have to go to war or go to a military operation, which my people would prefer that I use as a term because war means things that they don't like. But whether you call it war or not, it is what it is. And we're going to go down to the Islamic Republic of Iran, and we're going to have to hit them very hard. And don't forget, when Barack Hussein Obama did the JCPOC, if you look at that, Barack Hussein Obama, have you heard of him? He was a disaster. He was a disaster. He gave them $1.7 billion in cash, $1.7 billion in cash, and tens of billions of dollars. Gave it to Iran, thought he could buy their friendship. And it was just the opposite. They used the money and they built missiles and everything else. And I terminated the JCPOA. It was his agreement. It was the Iran nuclear deal. It was a disaster. By the way, it expired a long time ago, but I terminated it long before it expired. If I didn't do that, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon. If I didn't send the B-2 bombers in 10 months ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We obliterated that nuclear dust. Very important. And then you wouldn't have Israel. Israel would be gone. I know you have a lot of good fans of Israel in this room. And Israel would have been gone, and probably the Middle East would have been gone. And they could have taken a shot. We would have wiped them out pretty quick, but they could have taken a chunk of us too. But in my first term, I created the greatest economy in the history of the world. The first term was a great success and rebuilt the military, did everything. But now we're blowing it away. We're doing much better this time. And again, we did have to make that excursion. How would you like to be given the best numbers we've ever had as a country and tell people, guess what, we're going to war? And nobody in the room knew what I was talking about because it wasn't their thing. And I said, we got to stop them from having a nuclear weapon. Because you want to see problems? Let a crazy country have a nuclear weapon. You'll see problems like you've never seen before. The stock market has set 73 all-time record highs since the election. And more Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. That's pretty good. In January 2025, we inherited the worst, most dangerous, most wide open and insecure border in history. I actually think in the history of the world, I don't think it's just here. You could just walk into the country, and again, they were letting prison populations, they were taking buses and dropping them off at our border, and people coming out, murderers coming out of prison, drug dealers, the worst people. They made our criminals look like nice people. That's the only thing nice. Our criminals, for the first time, looked very nice by comparison to these people. But they dropped 25 million people over 4 years into our country. And it's the single hardest job I have, getting them out. We're getting them out pretty rapidly, but it's a very hard thing. But think of it, prison populations from the Congo, from all parts of South America, from all parts of the world, were taken in, driven through Mexico, and dropped off in our border, and they would walk right into our country. And we've quickly turned it into the strongest and most secure border in the history. We have the strongest border we've ever had now. And for the past 13 months, 0 illegal aliens have been admitted into the United States. 0. We have 0. And those are the numbers, they report them. And they're taken by sort of a left kind of a group. The stats, if anybody did, they'd like to report them. But we have 0. And they don't even try because they know they're probably not going to get in, so they're not going to make this very dangerous march. We're saving a lot of lives. Because in those caravans, remember I named them caravans, they'd have 25,000 people, sometimes more. But they'd come up from South America and all through Mexico. They'd go all through. And they go through jungles. In Colombia, really tough jungles too, dangerous jungles. And women would die and women would be raped. Remember when I said they get raped, crime, murder, and everyone, my first speech, My first speech was controversial. When I announced I was running, everyone said, "What do you mean raped?" What I said was peanuts compared to what happened. And the women would come up and they'd die. They'd be raped. A lot of people would die on those caravans. The journeys up were, they call them journeys through hell, because they had to go through jungles. They had to go through very dangerous areas. And the people that got here would just walk right into our country. We had no idea who they were. Nobody would even stand there and check. They just came in. Come on in. Come on in. This was Sleepy Joe Biden's ideology that was forced on him by much smarter people than him that wanted to destroy our country because he had no clue. But with the help of our law enforcement heroes in 2025, we achieved the largest drop in the murder rate ever recorded in our country's history 125 years ago. Think of that, think of that. The year 1900, that was before my father. My father would hate me saying that because it's a long time ago, but that was before my father was born. I had a wonderful father and mother, and family. But the lowest murder rate in 125 years. Washington, D.C. is now one of the safest, most beautiful cities in the country. And just a little while ago, it was a killing machine. Think of that. A year and a half ago, Washington was a very unsafe city. Now it's one of the safest cities in the country. It's one of the most beautiful cities. Doug Burgum and myself and a whole group of people did a great job on the monuments and fountains, and the reflecting pool is so beautiful. They tried to destroy it. They cut it up with a box knife and tried to destroy it. And it's in great shape now. They're terrible. They're vandals. They've caught 6 of them, I guess, maybe more. They've got others in line to be caught. But we just inspected it. We'll fix it right after the 4th of July. Got to let the water out, just fix it. But we caught them. They would cut it, and they would grab this very expensive and very good material, totally waterproof, and they rip it. These people are sick. They ripped a scar 350 feet long through the side of the reflecting pool. These are the people we're dealing with. These are the people that want to destroy our country. But we've invested a record $1 trillion in the United States Armed Forces, and we're going this year for $1.5 trillion, all made in the USA. And something that's so exciting, the recruitment. You know, if you go back a year and a half, 2 years ago, you could not get anybody to join the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marines, the Coast Guard, Space Force. You couldn't get anybody to join. They had tremendous recruitment problems, but now recruitment in every branch of our military is setting records. 18 months ago, we had tremendous shortages and we couldn't fill them up. We were never going to fill them up. That included police and firemen. We couldn't get policemen and women. We couldn't get firemen and women. Anything with a uniform, because they were ashamed of our country, because we had people that were not respected. You have to respect the president. If you don't respect the president, you're going to have a problem. You're going to have a problem. They had no respect. And now we have waiting lists. Now you can't get into the military. Literally, we went from the worst recruitment numbers ever in 1 year to the best recruitment numbers ever. And it all started on that beautiful day, November 5th, right? A thing called Election Day. And as soon as we won, before I even got to do anything, those numbers started going through the roof. People love our country again, and they have spirit. You always loved it, but you were down, you were depressed. You were not feeling too good about our country, especially you as people with a great religion and a fervor for Christianity and religion. You should be depressed. You should have been, but now you're riding high, but we have to be careful. We don't want to lose it. We've got to win the midterms. We've got to win the election coming up, and we're gonna be in good shape. But you have to expose them. If you don't expose them, I mean, I stand here and I expose them. Some people don't do it right. They say they're going to get free rent. Well, that's okay to say, but everyone's going to vote for them, except for a few of the people in this room. But you have to say they're going to get free rent. But in 2 years, everything is going to collapse and you're going to live in squalor. When you say that, you can beat the free rent. You can beat the fact that they're going to take your house away and give it to somebody else, which is essentially what they'd like to do. But it's happened so many times over the years with really powerful countries, and we're not going to let it happen. So we have the strongest and most powerful military anywhere in the world. I built it in my first term, using it a little bit in my second term. And we're once again using it to defend America's interests and American values. Look at what happened in Venezuela. We have a great, and by the way, we're helping Venezuela. They had a tremendous earthquake, a lot of people killed, and unbelievable, right in Caracas. And we have a lot of people over there helping, but Venezuela has been fantastic. We've had a great relationship. It was a one-day war. We hit them so hard, and one-day war. Now we've taken out millions of barrels of oil, and we've paid for the war many times over. But just as importantly, they are doing better than they've ever done. They're making more money than they've ever done. They've never made the money that they're making now. And it's really, I mean, outside of what happened last night with the terrible, that was terrible what happened. It was a big earthquake, knocked down buildings. But outside, it was really, it's a happy country again. The people are happy. They're dancing in the streets. The people running it are doing a very good job. The United States has never been stronger. We have never been wealthier. We've never been prouder to be an American. Since 1776, America's story has been a tale of freedom, overcoming oppression, good defeating evil, and faith overcoming every challenge and every foe. We had everybody was winning, and we're going to continue stronger, maybe stronger. One generation, think of it, just one generation after our war of independence, the British tried, and they really tried hard to conquer America in the War of 1812. That didn't work out too well. But they failed, and the cause of freedom won, and it continues to win. The War of Survival ultimately gave America our national anthem and our Star-Spangled Banner. Many Americans know the story of Francis Scott Key writing the words of the anthem and watched the flag under attack, and he wrote those beautiful words. But what few realize is that the very same poem also inspired our national motto. The fourth verse of the song ends in these words, "And this be our motto, in God we trust." In God we trust. And as you know, the Democrats want to end that. They don't want the words, "In God we trust." They want to have that stricken. They go to court. They take us to court. We're never changing that. We'll fight for that. We're not changing that. In God we trust. Better believe it. So today, on the threshold of our 250th year, this room is proof that America is still a nation that lives by those magnificent words, "In God we trust." With the help of everyone here today and Americans of faith all across this land, we will continue to protect the promise of the Declaration of Independence, one of which actually is in my office, in the Oval Office. So we cherish it. We will continue to defend our values, our traditions, our faith, and our freedom. And as we enter the golden age of America, that's what we have. This is the golden age. We've never had anything like it. We have factories all over the country. We have car plants, AI plants, all sorts of plants. Our businesses are expanding. Our numbers are unbelievable. Remember that we've never had a year with so many number one stock markets. Good to have number one, because that affects everybody. That means jobs. That means success. That's good, as we said, for your 401ks. It's good for your stock investments. Everyone's doing well. We have a country that's just the hottest. It just is so hot. And I'm working really hard to make it even better. We're going to get rid of some of the flaws. We're going to make it even better. But the biggest thing we have to do is we have to stop this horrible thread of cancer that's permeating our country called communism. We have to stop it, because that's what it's about. That's what they want to do quietly. And we ask that God will continue to bless the United States of America, and God will bless the United States of America because of people like you. Thank you very much, and happy Independence Day, everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.
And this live stream brought to you by some great sponsors here on Right Side Broadcasting Network, mypillow.com/RSBN. Save up to 80% on the warehouse sale. Of course, there's a lot of great quality products there. On top of that, you're buying from a great conservative company and a great conservative in Mike Lindell. Of course, doing some awesome things out there for this country, from election integrity, running for governor, running all these companies. The dude is working hard, and it's great to see that for our country. So just go to mypillow.com/RSBN for more information. Also, if you'd like to donate to Right Side, all you have to do is go to rsbnetwork.com/donate as we grow, as we expand here at Right Side. rsbnetwork.com/donate. For all of us here at Right Side Broadcasting Network, I'm Matthew Alvarez. We'll see you again soon.